Now it's time for
Coffee Talk
with Ashley and
Brippy.
Thanks to
EFB.
we get to
Spill the tea.
woohoo EFB. Thank you so much, Electric Fountain Brewing, right here in downtown Quincy. One of our very favorite neighbors because they keep us caffeinated and
wired, rearing to go.
That's right.
Ready for this coffee talk?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this coffee talk?
Dude, I'm always ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay, so obviously there's a bunch of headlines in the news across the Quincy City Council stories. I'm going to focus on the one today. It's the hard one. It's the one you saw a little bit at the end of Minutes with the Mayor. It's in regards to homelessness. So again, it's difficult to tread around this subject because I feel like everyone has, feelings, obviously. I would like to say everyone, but then again, there are some people that are just like,
I think that there's a difference because you can have compassion towards human beings, but not so much compassion towards the state that homelessness leaves your community in.
I agree.
So
I think, but
two different scenarios.
Again, like two things can be true at once. It doesn't mean that you have to take sides or be a certain side.
It's become politicized, so people do think they need to take sides, which humans are not political pawns. I think we just need to keep that in mind. But also, it's like when people are like, why can't we just have compassion? Well, because compassion without accountability leads to enablement.
Also, what does compassion do for us?
Yeah.
Yes, we can say out loud, I have compassion for these people, or I feel for these people. But then where does that, I guess, lead us? Or
it has to translate into, people doing things, like actually taking action. So I know that there are committees aimed at doing things, for housing. But again, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you can have homes, but then you have things outside of just homelessness is more of a symptom than a cause. So it's like it's caused by something, whether it's choice, addiction, mental health. So you have to address the underlying issues before you can just say we need homes for these people because. Do you agree?
Absolutely. So that's what I kind of wanted to get into.
Sorry, I didn't mean to totally stomp on it.
You led it up to this. This is perfect. So the argument often times equated with homelessness is we talk about how homelessness is maybe associated with mental health or drug addiction, and you will have people coming in hard saying, you know what, that is so wrong to associate everything with that because sometimes people are just down on their luck, and that is absolutely true. But and I can't find an exact percentage because homelessness and the status behind that homelessness is oftentimes hard to measure statistically speaking because it's hard to outreach to those people or ask. However, SAMHSA or SAMHSA, the acronym served for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, a group, has come together and said that homelessness can be categorized into three different categories. So you have the transitional or situational homelessness. So that's the 1%, or again, I'm just saying 1%, throwing it out there. It's a lower percentage. But it is clearly a lower percentage because these people are down on their luck and something has happened where it's put you in this situation, but generally, those are the people that will go ahead and accept assistance through programs. They're going to try and get the leg up. They're going to try and get themselves out of that situation because, it was situational.
Sure.
However, there are other levels of homelessness that then lead towards episodic. Those are people who cycle in and out of it. And then the top tier, which is chronic homelessness. And in that, chronically homeless people, there are percentages behind this according to SAMHSA, if I'm saying that right. 30% of those who are chronically homeless suffer from mental health, and 2/3 of them have a substance use disorder.
Okay.
So know why we can't umbrella blanket that it has to do with these two things. It is very clear the matter that those are prominent
causes.
When we're talking
reasons.
about like the overall arching, reasons or the people affected.
Yeah.
Again, there are situational and transitional homeless people. I'm not arguing that fact, and I'm not saying not everyone is mentally ill or drug addicted, because you have that situation, but that situation is statistically seemingly small when we're talking about the homeless population. So just putting that out there for all the people that are saying, you guys are talking about this and you're not being so emotionally empathetic or whatever. I mean, I am. But I'm trying to get to the facts behind it.
Yeah. I think there's also this thing where we have compassion, but we don't necessarily have resources. So then begs the question is begged that do we want to provide more resources? Because in this case, supply does increase demand.
Absolutely.
And then you have a city that has resources, but as the demand increases, your city has to increase its resources, and it's a never-ending cycle because you kind of become known for being, the city that supports. And although I don't want to ever say that we would never want to be that, I think that it does create an entirely new problem that then probably will become a burden on our community, taxpayers, etc. So I think probably, while I don't have an answer, we probably want to avoid saying that we need this resource and more housing and this and this and this. What I think that probably we need are federally and state funded resources, including mental hospitals. Again, this increased, I don't even know how many fold when our mental health facilities closed. That needs to be looked at closely under a microscope. We also need to probably get into the mindset that the goal with homelessness is not, it's not to make it easy, it's to make it temporary. So how do we do that in a way that is both responsible for the unhoused, but also for the citizens of our community on both sides? And I think that again, I don't have an answer, but I think that people keep mentioning churches. I think that, places like the Crossing could very well use funding to develop some kind of temporary resource. And when I say resource, I'm not just saying a place for people to land. I'm saying help them connect the dots for them, help them find permanent solutions to if they are situational problems.
But I think that's the low percent that we're talking about,
Sure.
the situational, transitional. Those will be the people that take these resources and make the best of them.
But then for like the
everyone
chronic
else,
and episodic,
exactly.
It's like, what do you do for them aside from basically create a camp? But then when you do that, you beg more problems.
And a camp is something that I know has been in discussion with the city. I know that the city wants to get involved because they want to fix it. But at the same time, my question is, when the city gets involved, then where does liability come into place for the city? So I think the city is looking and hoping, and I know everyone's hoping.
It's really not
for
a city
benefactor to come in and say, here's $30 million, here's a facility.
Yeah.
But then
it's not a city problem. Where the
It's not.
city's responsibility falls is exactly what they're doing, and that is creating ordinances to make sure that both the unhoused and everyone else in our community are safe.
Yeah, I mean that is where they should do, and that's like where it should stop.
Yeah.
You shouldn't insert yourself into the help process necessarily, even though everyone's like, oh, kumbaya, we want to be City of Quincy. Well, guess what?
Or
who is paying for that at the end?
And the city shouldn't be held accountable for that, to feel like they need to come up with solutions. This is not.
I love though when people are like, how dare you? You have a house over your head. You have you have food in your belly, and how dare you say that about like the city shouldn't get involved? The people that are asking for this, and even Mayor Moore is asking. Then give me the answers. What are the answers for the city involvement in homelessness? And I don't think the people that are like really like charging this, saying, I say virtue signaling, but virtue forward, and and we want to be Quincy, the help for the homeless. I think all these people saying this don't understand the finance behind that, the backing behind that,
also
the answers
the
behind
liability,
that.
Because as we've seen, and I don't want to take one instance and make it the poster child, but compassion doesn't necessarily mean that these people understand that you're being compassionate, as we've seen in the library case.
Yep.
So you have to be very careful by saying that, of course we want to be compassionate. Humans deserve compassion. Does that mean that we owe them the right to take over our public places? And that was the other argument. So public, doesn't that mean public? Yes, but everyone else has to abide by certain rules, right?
And while transitional and situational homeless people will take your handout and probably thank you for it, and be actually true to that appreciation, those that are episodic and chronically homeless, if they're, I don't want to say if, but like a lot of times, they're looking at you with that handout and almost like, F you.
How dare you?
For giving, no, like it's almost like, screw you for being in this position that you can do this.
Oh.
It's like a hate on, and you can argue with me all you want. Ask the people who are dealing with this firsthand, the reaction that they get from the people that they are helping. And again, like I said,
helping. See, that's where I have a big thing with this, because helping, maybe you're not helping. Maybe you're enabling. I've seen that time and time again, and that's what you can't help without having some accountability. We have to be accountable in some fashion. That doesn't mean the city's accountable. That doesn't mean that, but we as the community have to hold the city accountable for creating these ordinances. We also have to vote with, I said it's not politicized, but we have to hold federal and state legislature accountable for helping in whatever way it makes sense. But it's not an easy problem to solve. It's multifaceted. It touches so many different demographics. This is not something that the city of Quincy can solve outside of not attracting more of it without a solution.
Actually, that's absolutely true.
Because it's like, of course we want to show compassion. The more compassion we show without actual solutions, the bigger the problem is going to get. And then we can say goodbye to our safety and the resources that we have currently. Yeah.
And there are actual laws put into place that protect. So right now, the state or the city is looking into a no camping ordinance. However, legal is going to have to really guide them through that, because we have state laws put into place where it's like human civil acts that state trumps your city. And it makes it so it allows you to not be able to touch a person's possessions, even if they're on public or private property. That's why we have the show squatters that exist.
Oh, yeah.
People can come in on your yard, set up camp, and you might have a legal issue on your hand where you can't touch their things. Now, I know some of you are like, try it.
Yeah.
And I agree. I feel the same way. But I'm talking the reality of legality when it comes to squatters' rights. And I think the state of Illinois is going to be one of the biggest ones up there. Right along, we're going to follow Colorado. We're going to follow California's suit in human civil rights. And we have bills on the table, right? We have laws that are actually on the table in Illinois. But we also have bills on the table that is going to absolutely trump our camping city ordinance, if that goes into place, I believe. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I do read a lot.
Well, I again, we don't have answers, but I think that if we were going to get involved, the call would be to the churches, and I'm not talking the small community churches, I'm talking the big mega churches who don't pay property taxes, who are technically for profit, who make a lot of money, who should also be helping thy neighbor. And
I think that's the better answer than our already strained sources. Like I was asking the mayor earlier today, I was like, is there any way Quinata or a couple other people that I mentioned off that could get involved? They're already strained as it is. So even though, places like that are the ones that are the first to say, hey, we need to be compassionate, they themselves they don't have the answer either.
Yeah.
Our resources are limited, and adding more to them, like you said, makes, I think, the problem.
It'll make it grow. Yeah, it'll make it grow.
And it is a problem. Like, I hate keep calling it a problem, because these are people, but it's a problem. It's a problem not only for them, it's a problem for those in the community that contribute to the community. It's a problem for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what's not a problem, and I'm okay with it? The thumbs down on Facebook.
About time, Facebook.
I didn't realize, so the whole time though, I guess it's...
I've clicked it accidentally a few times.
I just accidentally thumbs down I don't know how many people's comments, thinking I was liking them, and then I went
You were
back,
stirring shit without even knowing it.
back and I go, oh.
That's funny.
Oh, there's a thumbs down. You know, I was just click, click, click. Yeah, they're all, I thumbs down you, and I just switched that. So hopefully you guys saw that I switched my thumbs down. But cool on you, Facebook.
Yeah, thanks, Zuck.
I mean, it would have been nice for a notification for at least that one. Maybe I missed it. But yeah, so there's thumbs downs on comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I like it.
I wish there was an eye roll.
I like that.
Yeah, I wish there was an eye roll.
Eye roll for like just the comments or the statuses?
All of the above.
I like the simple thumbs up, thumbs down on a comment.
Yeah.
And then with your status, you get to have the array of emotions. And then with those emotions, sometimes you have the care emotion. And I don't know, like, is that, do you sometimes press the care emotion with a condescending vibe?
No,
Never?
I don't. No, I always question, should this be a heart or a caring? So, like, it's very situational. And I always question myself. I take a pause, so.
Well, if somebody's asked me...
Oh, you're doing it like a bless your heart?
I guess.
Yeah.
Like, if they're like, hey, today was blah, 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 and I put on my left, my left shoe on my right foot or something, and I'm like, care?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you're like, I should care?
Am I supposed to laugh, or should I care? I don't know. I don't know, but that's pretty cool. And then last but certainly not least, what's always cool is...
Hang on.
Wait.
Because I had something that I wanted to bring up and I forgot to tell you about it, but as you were talking about the thumbs up, thumbs down, I thumbs up something, and it's the tax-free, what's normally weekend for back-to-school shopping. Illinois is doing back to school August 7th through the 16th. So it's not tax-free, but it's 1% versus whatever 7 now.
That's
so
nice.
Yeah, that maybe is a little good news too.
Yeah, don't you remember like us talking in years past how we always went to St. Louis for those?
Because St. Louis, I think Missouri is August 7th through the 9th. So it is just a weekend, but Illinois is, they extended it because, well, they're getting a lot of our tax dollars. So they're probably like, let's give these little people a little something back.
It's about time.
I'll take it.
It's about time.
Yeah.
And speaking of giving back, our Good News Brews, Scott Ash.
God, love this guy.
I do. He reached out to us recently, and actually we saw it on Facebook too. He posted, just last week we were talking about a voluntary landscaper is our Good News Brews. Now he went above and beyond. He just didn't pull just weeds. He brought out the whole kit and caboodle, his Ashes to Ashes landscaping business. Took to the post office located on Locust. A lot of people were taking to Facebook and basically just bitching about the landscaping. He was trying to find the exact post of who posted it. I'm pretty sure we all know who probably started that one.
I think there's a couple of them out there now.
Maybe, but okay, the king of the most of those, I'm sure we saw where that started. But funny. Even, like Scott went ahead and did this.
He put his shears where his mouth was.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think most people need to do that.
Yeah.
And take it from even the homeless situation.
Yeah.
For all the people that are saying,
we
for
need to be
anybody,
compassionate.
then open your doors.
Yeah. Not just that, but I mean, also be compassionate that there are ways to put your money where your mouth is, right? Or where their mouth is, without exacerbating an issue. But I don't want to divert.
Without enabling. Okay,
I don't want to digress
back.
because Scott Ash, so he worked for a local landscaper for a very, very long time. And for one reason or another, I won't get into it, that's his business, decided to open his own. And he's always been a great guy. He's always, I'm sure people have seen him around our community. He's always willing to help. He always says Merry Christmas instead of Happy Birthday after his dad. It's a great family. They always are doing great things. And yeah, now he has Ashes to Ashes landscaping.
He's a go-getter.
He is a go-getter.
Even when the government
isn't, which is pretty often.
Yeah.
now.
So the post office, just to be full disclosure, is owned by the U.S. government. The U.S. It's not like, whereas like the last post office that we saw was owned by a landlord. This one is owned, I believe, completely by the U.S. government. Therefore, it should be federally taken care of.
I wonder.
However, that we all know that doesn't happen.
Well, and also the USPS is short-staffed because of one reason or another. So maybe they're like, you know what, forget the landscaping. I'm not giving excuses here, guys.
No, but thank you, Scott, for making it easy on our eyes when we go and use the U.S. Postal Service.
Not only that, it just, again, like the last Good News Brews, it lends to overall quality of life. And I know people are probably like, it's just bushes. When you're driving by it, though, pride in a property shows...
pride in a community.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it's true. And it lends to, overall quality of life. And also just, I like driving around and seeing nice things. And I think in Quincy we have a lot of that to offer. And I don't want to see that change in any form or fashion.
Me either. So for those that are like, I don't want any change, that's me right now. I mean, in regards to this.
Yeah, it's not that I don't want any change. I just want to move in the right direction. And I don't think enabling things that go against our quality of life is the way to do that. And I also don't think holding the city accountable for things that they can't really control is a good idea either. I will say holding ourselves accountable, as Mr. Scott Ash did, to help beautify our community is what we all need to do. And if you can't do that, just beautify someone else's day, because that's free.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
On that note, that does it for today's Coffee Talk. Thanks, EFB, and thank you all for listening, watching, and paying attention, kind of.